Hello, my friends. Welcome to a very quick expose on the dangers of using artificial intelligence for your PMP exam question logic. I had a subscriber, a user on the channel, send in a message saying, I got really frustrated when you chose a certain option. The answer should be this, not this. Now, first and foremost, whatever I put out there is put out there with consideration. This was written by humans, right? Not during the time of AI, but before the time of AI. So these questions were not written using mindless AI and getting output. For that reason, when I saw this comment, I found it very interesting, and I reread the question as a PMP student. And I looked at what the individual was suggesting the answer is. Well, when I read the comment, AI said it was one answer, but I disagreed. Which answer do you think this is? And for those of you who've taken my 500 question quiz, yeah, there are a lot of tricky questions. I know it gets pretty frustrating, but I want to warn against using AI as a cop-out to say, yeah, Phil is wrong. He didn't know what he was talking about. AI said this is the answer. Because AI is not always correct. So what do you think the answer is to this one? Okay, let's read it together. You've been awarded a project to design a district energy system, DES system for a client. Close to project end, the customer requested a significant change, which means a change request, right? Which is approved by the CCB after reviewing certain reports. Which of the following is true about this approved change request? A. Use this to check the reworked product. B. It should be used to plan programs in the firm. C. It should be used to develop the project charter. D. It should become an input to perform integrated change control process. Now, what is the difference between an approved change request and a change request? You see, these are the subtleties that perhaps the AI this individual used didn't catch. Because a change request goes into approval in performing integrated change control. An approved change request comes out. Do you get it? You put a change request in, you get an approved change request out. So an approved change request cannot be an input to perform integrated change control. Instead, you should use it to check the reworked product. And therefore, the answer was A. The answer was A, and this individual believed that what this guy's saying is wrong, despite clarifying. So I want to warn against just defaulting to AI. Now, I know some questions may not be written, by humans, but these questions that I'm giving you here, these are human questions, and they're written with an understanding of PMI's deference to approved change requests being different. When a change request is approved, it is no longer just a mere change request. And it's these subtleties that honestly cause failure on the exam. It's failure to see the minutia. See what I'm saying? So I want to advise against AI, using AI as, a final voice. And the reason why, what is even more troubling is this individual used AI to find the answer. And I don't know which AI she used. It could have been Gemini. Could have been GPT. I don't know. But I used my pro version of GPT, and it didn't give me option D. At least, not at first. Not at first. I want to show you how GPT answered this question, and I'm glad it corrected itself, but it was fixing to choose the wrong answer. So let me go over there and show you real quick. So this is the GPT Pro rationalization of the question. So I put the question in here so that it could read it, and this is how it rationalized it. It said, it skipped straight past A, said this would apply after the change has been implemented, not a direct truth about the approved change request itself. So it missed the answer right off the bat. It blew past it. But it seems like as it began to process and it chose D incorrectly, as you can see, it said D is correct. Approved change requests become inputs to various processes, including direct and managed project work. And it seems like as it went through the logic, when it got here, it now said, but since this change is already approved, the answer could be misleading. No one said it was the answer, GPT, you did. Unless it is interpreting future requests. And as it began to think, because this algorithm is all a thing of best fit after it's done a little bit of thinking, then it says, but here's the catch. The question says the change has already been approved by the CCB, which means it's gone through the perform integrated change control process. Hello, of course. And then it changes its tune. So the most accurate interpretation is A. This implies verification after implementing the approved change. But this is a tricky PMP style question because if the change request, no one said it was a change request. Approved. Now it got it. You see, it has already been through performing a great change control. The next correct step is executing the change and verifying the product, hence A. Final answer. You see how it changed its tone from saying D was correct, going through some thinking, and finally got to the answer A. But not every AI tool would analyze it like this. I want to wager that Gemini might choose something different. I don't know. You see. Then it says this aligns with real world PMP logic. You see what I was saying about PMI questions being different? So it caught on to this, and I'm not surprised GPT did, because I know tons of people are pounding on GPT with PMP questions. So it's getting smarter. And it says where approved changes are then implemented and verified. So you kind of get where I'm going with this. You need to be very careful when you are using artificial intelligence to rationalize PMP questions, because PMI's body of information is very different from a lot of other project management bodies. It's very finite. The margin of error is rather unforgiving. If you just get the logic wrong in one step, then it's going to be a cascading array of errors. Okay? So let's go to another tool. I want to show you, just to show you the variation. Again, I'm going to use my pro version of Gemini, and we're going to see if we can get it to think. All right, here we go. So here again is the same question. Okay. All right. So the question describes this scenario. Let's evaluate each option. Use this. While an approved change might lead to rework, the approved change request itself isn't the direct tool for checking the product. It's the authorization for the change. And that's where its argument falls apart. Because in the world of the PMI, the approved change request becomes an input to direct and manage project work. So when you are carrying out the work to rework, you are also checking it against the approved change request. That's common sense. And it blew right past it. It blew right past it. B, of course, we know, generally not. C, generally not, because it's at the beginning. But look at how it incorrectly chooses D and gives you the backing to go with your flawed answer. It should become an input to perform a great change control process. This option aligns perfectly with project management principles. This is ridiculous. You see, it doesn't understand PMI's framework. It says when a change request is approved, it needs to be integrated into the project plan and executed. The perform integrated change control process is precisely where approved change requests are processed. That's a fat lie. Documented and their implementation is managed. It's not true. That is done in direct to manage project work. Or even if you're just going with vanilla flavored, it's done in executing. You manage the implementation of your plan or your changes in executing. It says it involves updating project management plans. So anyway, it got it wrong. Therefore, the most accurate statement about approved change requests, especially one approved by the CCB, is that it becomes an input to perform. Can you see how ridiculous this is? It's mixing the inputs and the outputs. So I got to give GPT props for correcting itself. See, it says based on this analysis, option D is most accurate. So this is a great example, my friends, of how AI, two different AIs, will give you conflicting answers on the same question. It is not wise. What I would advise you to do is get some human intervention. Get a person. That's why you should have a coach who can look at this and say, oh, this is a faulty question versus this is the correct answer. And this is it's like a common sense thing. It's like you're going to ask for permission. You get permission. What do you use that permission to do? Do you use the permission to ask for permission again? It's like you go to your mom or dad or significant or someone, can I get permission to buy this new thing? Maybe it's a ride. I want to buy a new Bugatti. I want to fork out $500,000. Can I do that? And the person you're asking says, yes. What do you do with that approval? Right? You check, oh, did I really buy a Bugatti or did I buy something else? Right? You don't go back and use that approval to ask, oh, you gave me approval. Let me ask for approval again with this approval. You get what I'm saying? There's a difference between asking for a change versus getting approval for the change. Anyway, I think I make my case clear. I wish you all the best as you prep, but you got to be careful with AI. It can mess you up. And nobody knows the $1 million question that AI is going to botch. So always have a human in the loop. Case closed.